Breaking right now, growing pressure for King Charles to strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles, not only because of the disastrous interview on the British Bashing Corporation, which the Beep has had to apologise for, but because Prince Harry has now been caught up in two major news scandals in the past 24 hours. One connected to his second African charity, African Parks, which is in huge trouble. The other connected to his latest court case. And Prince William, well, he's made his decision on this already. On the chopping block, Prince William plans to exact vengeance on vile Harry and Meghan as king, with the prince having plans to draw a definitive line under the Sussex saga as soon as he has the authority to do so. That is according to sources close to the Prince of Wales, who said that Harry and Meghan's behaviour has been absolutely vile. They added that Harry's unhinged BBC interview made it clear he has no interest in reconciling, and they said that William's position had gained renewed urgency following the interview. So let me bring in my superstar panel now. Charlie Sansom is a free speech advocate and political commentator, and Steph, the altar nerd, is a royal YouTuber. So, Steph, what do you make of this? Prince William becoming increasingly furious about the damage that Harry and Meghan are doing to the royal family, but for some reason, Charles seems to want to allow them to keep their titles.
I'm not surprised. The reports are coming through that Prince William is increasingly getting miffed off with Harry and Meghan. It's understandable to a certain extent that King Charles doesn't want to do anything about it or tackle the issue because he's got bigger fish to fry, you know, with his cancer treatment and what he's going through health-wise at the moment. So sounds a little bit morbid, but I think he's just waiting for Prince William to ascend to the throne, for Prince William then to have enough strength and power to deal with the Sussexes. The new reports that are coming through, though, is not only is that Prince William is now hell-bent on removing their titles, but also as well potentially looking at creating a new letters patent to remove the Sussexes from the line of succession, which I think would be, yes, definitely a good thing to do for the Sussexes as well. Remove them from line of succession.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it would require an act of parliament, Steph, but who cares? Who cares? Because it would be the most popular act of parliament in recent history. The public now overwhelmingly want these two not just stripped of their HRH titles, but also removed from the line of succession. There are also serious question marks about why the hell Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet should be there, given we don't know the truth about their birth. But actually, even more important, you've got their dad saying, well, they can never return to the United Kingdom. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, you cannot have a prince and a princess in the line of succession with broad American accents who are banned from the country that one day they could potentially, in theory, rule. It's ludicrous.
According to Dan Wooten, Prince William has had enough, and he's ready to strip Harry and Meghan of their HRH titles and remove them from the line of succession. Why no? Well, Harry's insane BBC interview didn't just backfire. It was the final straw. William is furious after Harry accused the royal family of conspiring to kill him, a claim so outlandish that it's not just damaging, it's downright dangerous. And now William is prepared to take action. This isn't just a feud anymore. This is an all-out royal war. Dan's right. Harry's gone from family feud to full-blown enemy, and now his brother is ready to strike back. Steph from According to Taz makes a chilling prediction. King Charles is allegedly too weak and distracted by his ongoing cancer treatment to deal with Harry and Meghan's latest onslaught of lies. And now he's apparently waiting for William to ascend to the throne and deal with the Sussexes once and for all.
It is ludicrous for him to turn around and say, oh, I'll never be able to take my family to the UK ever again. Yet for Archie's 6th birthday, they went to Jalisco in Mexico, which the US and the UK government actually advised people, don't even go there. Don't even bother due to the crime and kidnapping that's going on there. So Jalisco's safe, UK not so much. Go figure, right? But yeah, the reports previous to all this was that the royal family wanted to remove the titles, but they were scared of the backlash from the public. They didn't know how the public would react. Well, Hazard doing that awful, disastrous BBC interview last week really has done us a lot of favors, because the royal family since have seen the public backlash to that BBC interview and now know that if they do take the titles and take them out of the line of succession, they're not going to get that backlash that they feared.
Charlie, I mean, it's utterly incredible just looking at the stats, even for Harry's BBC interview, right? So it was broadcast on YouTube to over 1 million viewers, which is obviously massive. But look at that, 10,000 likes, 38,000 dislikes. And if you know anything about YouTube, that's disastrous. Like, probably, Steph, your videos, I imagine, get about 98, 99% likes. You know, the problem is, Charlie, Harry has lost the public with this interview well and truly. And this was all him. You know, like in the Oprah interview, for example, Charlie, I guess people could blame Meghan. She was sitting there. Maybe it was a bit awkward. This was all him, Charlie. Even trying to suggest that members of the royal family are conspiring with the government to get him killed. I mean, it's crazy talk.
That interview, and I didn't feel negatively towards him.
Really?
So
Did you feel sorry for him?
I felt like there may be some truth in some of the stuff that he was saying, yeah.
Well, you think they want him dead?
I wouldn't go that far, but I think
that's what he just said.
I think there might be some game playing there when it comes to royal protection, because whether you want to remove his HRH or his royal status is redundant. You can't do it.
But why should he receive security? In all seriousness, why should he receive security? When he was warned, you're leaving, you're no longer providing service to this nation. Indeed, he's doing totally the opposite, Charlie. He is trying to destroy our monarchy, yet he wants us to pay for his security. No, you're a rich man living in the United States of America. Pay for it yourself.
No, I disagree with you completely, because he's born into the life. People that serve the state, let's take political figures, for example. Former prime ministers, do they still get protection?
Yes, for the rest of their life.
Right. And how long are they in office for, like, on average?
Well, Liz Truss was for 6 weeks.
Okay, but on average, maybe 5 to 10 years? Right, but they get protection for life.
Yes, but they're living in the United Kingdom.
Dan, the point is that he's a prince, like it or not. He's born into state service, like it or not. He doesn't have a choice.
He's not providing any state service. I mean, Steph, why don't you come and encounter Charlie on this?
Yeah, because in a way, for me, you're comparing apples and oranges, Charlie. When a person becomes prime minister, you know, they know the ins and outs of the job, and whether they're forced to resign or they're voted out, you know, there is a tacit agreement that they then get protection for the rest of their lives. When it comes to Hazard, it was an absolute unprecedented moment that he quit the royal family. He left. He wanted to move to America. He wanted to become a private citizen and all that malarkey, right, with what he said when he left. And
think about that. The king is literally fighting for his life, and Harry is out here spouting conspiracy theories about his own family plotting to murder him. If that's not pure evil, what is? It's a tragic twist. While King Charles is fighting cancer, Harry is attacking his own family. And now William is prepared to bring the hammer down. And here's where things get sick and twisted. In his BBC interview, Harry actually claimed that members of the royal family are conspiring with the British government to have him killed. Let that sink in. The same Harry who demanded police protection, claiming his life was in danger, is now accusing his own family of wanting him dead. And the public? They're not buying it.
You can't quit a job and then think that you can still have all the trappings of it.
Well, you can. Sure, you
can.
No,
and
you can't.
even then,
Not,
hang
and
on
he
a
was
minute, because he's
warned.
still getting the security.
No.
He's making out that he's not getting any security whatsoever. All he has to do is go to Ravik 28 days beforehand and say, right, this is when I'm coming over, this, that, and the other, and then they decide the level
If he
of security
is in the United Kingdom,
Charlie,
if he is in the United Kingdom for any form of event which is connected to national service, or if there has been any type of specific threat against him, which is an independently verified threat, he will receive security. What's more, King Charles offered him the run of Buckingham Palace, where he would be fully protected. He turned it down. He chose to go and stay with one of his posh, rich mates in Chelsea in an £8 million apartment, and he ordered Deliveroo, which is, by the way, if you are at all worried about your security, you don't order Deliveroo. It's like rule 101. So actually, he doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn. This is all about trying to destroy our government. He doesn't actually give a damn, Charlie, because straight after leaving the United Kingdom, he went to Ukraine. He went to a war zone. Then last week, or in the past few months, he went to Mexico, a particular state in Mexico where the US State Department warns against travel there because of the kidnapping threat. He's gone to Nigeria, the 9th most dangerous country in Africa, and he's gone to Colombia, one of the most dangerous countries in the world. So this isn't about security. It's about the destruction of our country and our monarchy.
I know that this subject gets you going, but no one complained when he went to fight in Afghanistan, did they? They saw him as a hero. But now, because he's had a spat with his family, which is not uncommon, people do argue with their families. They do have arguments. And you know what? They will patch things up. I can pretty much guarantee that, because all families...
Why are sources close to Prince William this week telling me, Charlie, over my dead body will there be a reconciliation? Okay. Why is Piers Morgan reporting that his sources are saying that Prince William has said he would rather shoot himself than reconcile with Harry?
Let's go back to the point, right? Brothers argue, fathers and sons argue, but the point is that people don't want to protect him because he decided to leave, right? I think that's
no. That's not true. You argue. It wasn't about that. You can have arguments with your family. It's very, very different, Charlie, when you go public and you accuse your family, who have a very important national role, and you accuse them of doing terrible things.
Why doesn't he get protection?
Racism.
He does.
He
does. Charlie, he does get protection. Again, Prince Hazard is really, really good at trying to manipulate the narrative. He's learned a lot from Megxit. Tries to make out that he don't get any security whatsoever.
Yeah, he doesn't get guaranteed
security when he comes to the UK. But since Megxit, every single time they've come to the UK, by our own public knowledge, has anything happened to them? Has anything close happened to them? No, not at all.
He doesn't have guaranteed security, Charlie. He has to go through a process. And by the way, it is worth pointing out that he was always warned of the consequences of this if you decide to go in the manner that you've gone. And his family never wanted that. It's one of the reasons why they wanted to keep him in the tent, and they worked so hard to find lots of ways, like, could we find a role for you in Canada? Could we find a role for you in South Africa? Could you find a role for you in Australia? It was because of the security issue. However, I will just stress again, this isn't about the fact that he's fallen out with his family. It's about the fact that he has gone public to the world and tried to destroy the monarchy with lies about racism, with lies about his brother being a bully, with lies about his father. And that's a very different thing. It's a very different thing.
That's so irrelevant.
Dan Wootton breaks it down. The BBC interview received over 1 million views, but it was a disaster. 10,000 likes, but a whopping 38,000 dislikes. That's a clear rejection of Harry's narrative. People are done with his lies. Dan's right. The public has officially turned on Harry, and now his royal titles are hanging by a thread. Dan Wootton absolutely nails it. Harry is out here claiming the UK is too dangerous for his kids, yet he's been jetting off to some of the most dangerous regions in the world. We're talking Mexico, Nigeria, Colombia, all places where kidnappings and violence are sky high, but somehow the UK is the real threat?
Yeah, but I raised it because that's the context in which people talk about it in. Removing his HRH status and making him no longer a prince won't change the fact that he was born a prince. No one's ever going to call him Harry Windsor or Harry Wales or anything else. They're going to call him Prince Harry for the rest of his life. Now, one thing that I will say about the pair of you, having debated this with you for a moment, is that you're both quite happy for people like Tony Blair to get lifelong protection, but not Prince Harry. Let that sink in for a moment.
Correct.
You're quite happy for Tony Blair to get protection.
Well, no, I think the current setup. I'm totally satisfied with the current process, which is that he applies every time he wants to come to the United Kingdom, and then there is an independent decision made about whether he needs security.
Does Tony Blair apply when he's
No, but he lives in the United Kingdom. And can I also say, when you're talking, you've brought up Afghanistan, right? The threat to Prince Harry over Afghanistan is because in Spare, his sick money-making autobiography, he decided to reveal his Al-Qaeda kill count, which goes against, by the way, all of the sort of code of being in the army and military code, and that's why he's under threat.
No, the war he was in, he was under threat in a war zone. Let's not, let's
But
focus
he's
on
talking about why he's
in the
under
backdrop
threat
of VE
now.
Day. In the backdrop of VE Day, you're quite happy for a prince to go and fight the war, but when he comes home, he still shouldn't be protected, despite the fact that he can not ever not be a prince.
Well, no, I mean, Princess Anne doesn't have full-time royal security. Princess Eugenie and Beatrice don't have full-time security. There's arguments for Prince Andrew to have his full-time security removed. People need to be protected when there is a clear and present threat against them. And as Steph points out, Harry is when there is that threat.
He's the son of the king. You'd never have this conversation about Prince William wherever he was.
Well, it depends. If Prince William, if Prince William abdicated in the same way that the Duke of Windsor did over Wallace Simpson, if Prince William abdicated, went to live in America, slagged off the royal family for years and years, was making tens of millions of dollars from a big publishing company and a big Netflix documentary, no, at that point, I wouldn't believe Prince William needed security. So it all depends on the context, doesn't it?
I think the context is you're born royal and that's how you'll remain. And that's why he deserves to be protected.
Okay, well, can I just run you through these two news scandals that have emerged over the past 24 hours as well? So the first is about this ongoing court case between Prince Harry and Associated Newspapers. And the Mail publisher has now asked Prince Harry's lawyers for payment for evidence documents. The preliminary hearing said that these are relating to payments or threats made for evidence in the legal claim against Associated Newspapers, which is quite something. He asked the court in London to order the group's legal team to search for and disclose any documents that relate to payments, royalties, or inducements paid, provided, or offered, or any demands or threats made in order to obtain documents, information, or cooperation. So we've got that going on in court, and the judge, Mr. Justice Nicklin, replied to Prince Harry's lawyer, who's claimed that all documents had been disclosed. Mr. Justice Nicklin said, "I find it remarkable that there are no documents." But this is actually the worst one. Prince Harry's African Parks charity, has now admitted human rights abuses after rainforest families said their rangers raped and beat tribespeople. Now, a statement from the charity says that the probe carried out by a London law firm, Omnia Strategy, have now been provided. But the charity said the board of Africa Parks has reviewed Omnia's advice and endorsed the management plan and timeframes to implement the recommendations resulting from this process. And here's the key line: African Parks acknowledges that in some instances, human rights abuses have occurred, and we deeply regret the pain and suffering that these have caused to the victims. Yet, Steph, we haven't heard from Prince Harry at all on this. So both his African charities are in tatters.
Meanwhile, he's living in a multi-million-dollar mansion in California and ordering Deliveroo like he doesn't have a care in the world. This isn't about safety. It's about control and manipulation. Dan's right. Harry is more interested in playing the victim than in actually protecting his family. Dan Wooten issues a final warning. Prince William is now preparing to sever all ties with Harry and Meghan. That means not just stripping their HRH titles, but also potentially removing them from the line of succession. And with public support for the Sussexes at an all-time low, William could do it without backlash.
Yeah. It's
What's your read
quite
on it?
scary that we've heard from Prince Harry straight away when it came to Centre Barley blowing up a month or two ago. But this African Parks ordeal has been going on now publicly for well over a year, and he stayed silent. Moreover, he's not resigned. He resigned from Centre Barley and hasn't stayed silent on that, but has stayed silent on the African Park situation. And you've got to wonder why. Now, in that Daily Mail article that you've shown, Dan, Survival International has responded to all of this, and director Caroline Pierce has turned around and said, look, we still don't know details, the actual details of what this report has actually found, because African Parks refuses to allow the findings to be made public. Why don't they want these findings to be made public? For me, I fear that what we know publicly is just a tip of the iceberg. And much more egregious abuses have been going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about yet. And it's really a case of how long can Prince Harry hide for? I don't think for that much longer. And I wonder who on the board is implicated in all of this now.
Very true. Very, very true. And actually, and I'll get Charlie's response to this, I'm going to announce now the results of the worst Britain in the world this week. This is when your Union Jackass choices from Monday to Thursday go head to head. We've had record number of votes this week. Insane. I think it must be at 60,000 now, which is just phenomenal. Thank you so much for voting on YouTube. Here were your nominees. On Monday, Lucy Powell, the Labour leader of the House, for dismissing the Pakistani rape gang scandal as a dog whistle. Tuesday, Prince Harry for that despicable BBC interview. Wednesday, Meghan Markle for rubbing the salt in the wounds of King Charles with her picture of Harry and the two children. And Thursday, Narinder Kaur for a race-baiting tweet over VE Day. The results are quite astonishing. As I say, over 60,000 of you voted. Narinder Kaur is in 4th position with 9% of the vote. Meghan Markle is in 3rd position with 12% of the vote. Lucy Powell, the runner-up, with 27% of the vote. But there you have it. 52% of the vote say the worst Britain in the world this week is Prince Harry. Charlie Sansom, what do you make of it?
Well, those 16,000 people that voted,
60.
My apologies. 60,000 people. Wow, and you guys thought Prince Harry was the worst? My God. Listen, to you guys who voted for him, give your head a wobble. The obvious champion of that disastrous poll was Lucy Powell. You know, you can't just take an interview from Prince Harry one week and then disregard 40 years of abuse and neglect on the other hand. No. You guys need to have a little word with yourselves on that one.
Brilliant stuff. Well, I fully endorse your choice of Prince Harry as the worst Briton in the world this week. What a brilliant superstar panel.
Is this the final blow for Harry and Meghan? Or will they keep playing the victim until there's nothing left to lose? All right, that's the explosive breakdown of Harry and Meghan's final royal fallout, as Prince William prepares to strip their titles and cut them off for good. If you think William is right to sever ties with the Sussexes, hit that like button, subscribe for more explosive royal reveals, and drop a comment below. Should Harry and Meghan be stripped of their titles and banished from the royal family? Let me know what you think.